United States of America has long been considered the most influential country in the world. Therefore, what happens in the United States, for example, its economic state, ethical standing, and foreign policies, etc., affects other nations. And as such, the fate of the entire world also rests in large part on the leader of the free world, the U.S. President. In this program, we will focus on the stark contrast between the noble leadership decisions of His Excellency Donald Trump, a Shining World Peace Leader Award and Shining World Leadership Award for Compassion laureate, versus the disastrous actions of Joe Biden and his administration that have wreaked havoc and caused much death and suffering in such a short time since coming into office. In the prayer and hope that those in power and Americans wake up, U-turn to save lives, also save themselves from great sin. For the love of humanity, for the love of God. etc. Another of His Excellency Donald Trump's successes as President of the United States was the incredible way that he revitalized the American economy.
Through the first 3 years of Trump's presidency, jobs were being added at a pretty consistent and strong pace of 182,000 jobs a month, a similar rate to the recovery from the Great Recession.
The longest positive job growth streak in history, an addition of 400,000 new manufacturing jobs, and unemployment at the lowest level in almost 50 years.
About 4.3 million jobs have been created since President Trump took office. That compares to about 4 million jobs that were lost during the first 2 years of President Obama.
There is one person who deserves credit today, and that's Donald Trump. Pick any number you want. Jobs, stocks, corporate profits, they're all gangbusters. And it's true that those measures were already strong when Trump took over and have basically continued on a long-term trajectory that started in 2009. But something feels different about the Trump economy.
I've created over 1 million jobs since I'm president.
There's a momentum, an energy, a bravado.
The stock market is way up again today, and we're setting a record literally all the time.
It's as if corporate America, Wall Street, and even blue-collar workers suddenly have their mojo back.
We will buy American, and we will hire American.
It turns out the only thing the American economy was missing these last 10 years was confidence. And nobody is as confident as Donald J. Trump. President Trump's nonstop boosterism has flipped a switch in the minds of investors and CEOs. He's got their back, and he has delivered with a fat tax cut and aggressive deregulation. Trump has become the cheerleader in chief, and you can measure the impact. In the months Trump became president, small business optimism had its biggest gain since 1980. Consumer confidence now stands at a 17-year high. And investor sentiment, there's nothing but bulls out there.
His Excellency Donald Trump put America first, making the U.S. energy independent for the first time in over 60 years, and implemented policies to bring back manufacturing from overseas, with an emphasis on protecting American jobs. His changes brought the optimism of small business owners to an all-time high in 2018 and created more than 1.2 million manufacturing and construction jobs.
I will be signing an executive order to establish the National Council for the American Worker. And today we are taking historic steps to ensure that every American has the chance to realize their full-time potential. We're asking businesses and organizations across the country to sign our new pledge to America's workers, committing to train and retrain more than 3.8 million American students and workers for new jobs and rewarding careers.
On behalf of IBM,
General Motors, Home Depot,
Walmart,
we pledged 48,000,
500,000, 512,000,
100,000,
370,000 people.
Over 1 million.
Through his leadership, the rate of unemployment dropped to the lowest it's been in half a century.
America greater than ever before.
Also during President Trump's people-oriented tenure, nearly 7 million citizens were lifted off of food stamps, and the income of metro areas in the United States increased for the first time in nearly 3 decades. His focus on supporting the less advantaged helped reduce income inequality by the largest amount in over 10 years. President Trump also signed bills to provide better care for veterans, improve criminal justice reform, and lower prescription drug prices for all Americans. Remarkably, President Trump generously donated his entire $1.6 million salary from his time in office to federal agencies, an act that further solidified his love for the American people.
So to all Americans in every city, near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words: you will never be ignored again.
At the start of 2020, His Excellency Donald Trump was faced with the daunting task of having to protect his citizens from the zoonotic pandemic COVID-19. President Trump acted swiftly and decisively by imposing strict travel restrictions to prevent the spread of the disease.
Because in addition to suspending travel from China, you recently made the decision to designate as do not travel certain areas of Italy, certain areas of South Korea.
Also, when people come in from certain areas, we're doing checks not only at the site of takeoff, but at the site of landing. The Obama administration made a decision on testing that turned out to be very detrimental to what we're doing, and we undid that decision a few days ago so that the testing can take place in a much more accurate and rapid fashion.
It's really very, very important. It's what's changed the availability of testing overnight.
We're funneling to 11 specific airports, and contract medical staff that we put in place have screened over 53,000 individuals and prevented a number of folks from coming into the country. We're looking at every way individuals come into the country, not just through the airports, making sure that we're securing the country as a whole.
He also initiated Operation Warp Speed to fast-track the development of an effective vaccine for the virus. President Trump invoked the Defense Production Act over 100 times to accelerate the development and manufacturing of essential medical equipment desperately needed in the U.S.
President Trump's response to the coronavirus formed the Presidential Coronavirus Task Force, quickly imposed China travel restrictions, declared a national emergency, cut red tape to expand testing availability, delivering essential medical supplies to states, accelerating development of therapeutics and vaccines, issued guidelines for Americans to slow the spread, historic economic relief package, $300 billion in direct checks to taxpayers, disaster loans for small businesses, paid sick leave to Americans affected by the virus.
Despite the tremendous setbacks of the pandemic, President Trump's timely response and stimulus programs helped the U.S. achieve a record-setting economic comeback.
Just focus on what President Trump, against incredibly strong headwinds, did for our economy. Today, more than 6 weeks after Election Day, the New York Times, believe it or not, published a piece confirming how much Trump's policies helped our factory workers. He's left Biden with vaccines and an economy that is set to boom. If that boom doesn't happen, we're all going to know who's to blame.
Unfortunately, instead of bringing prosperity to his co-citizens, Mr. Biden's government seemingly wants to make Americans' lives harder and more chaotic. For example, amidst a surge in violent crimes across U.S. cities since last year, Kamala Harris and others had tacitly encouraged rioting while helping to bail out criminals, and have urged for the defunding of police, a move that has been linked to worsened crime. Joe Biden's economic policies have not only failed to address the current supply chain crisis, tangibly felt by the empty store shelves, but they have also led to the country's highest inflation in 13 years, along with a rise in gas and food prices. Yet rather than relieving Americans' hardships, Mr. Biden pushed for a massive $3.5 trillion US spending plan, which includes a huge assortment of unsound, hidden agendas. For instance, funding abortions, paying for journalists' salaries, allowing unlimited numbers of foreign workers permanent residence, etc., such that even Democrat Congress members have not supported it. Ironically, while migrants are released without COVID-19 testing, Joe Biden implemented strict vaccine mandates upon the American people. This has prompted thousands to quit or be fired as they refuse to comply.
But you're seeing the core institutions of American life destroyed by this one mandate, which, by itself is a challenge, an insult really to American liberty. But in its effect, it's going to render inoperable our hospitals, our airlines, our police departments, our fire departments, our long-term care facilities. I mean, fill in the blanks. What else is there? That's our society, and none of it's going to work very soon.
In addition, amidst already existing difficulties due to the pandemic, while neglecting to demonstrate real policy solutions, The Biden administration, as well as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, have wasted much time, energy, and taxpayer money to instead attack and falsely blame President Trump. Finally, we must not forget that the Biden administration came into power through a very suspicious election process steeped with fraud. Mr. Biden's integrity has been questionable for years, with his family engaged in unethical businesses, tax evasion, and more. Moreover, the many lies and callous comments he has made further affirm his glaring lack of trustworthiness. In conclusion, whereas President Trump is for peace, life, and putting Americans first, Joe Biden is putting his co-citizens last, driving the economy into crisis, and actively promoting death and moral depravity.
It's Barack Obama that says the border is unsustainable, or Larry Summers says the economic agenda won't work, or senators on the Democratic side said Afghanistan is a disaster. So it's everybody is saying, what's going on? We've never seen anything like it. Was it incompetence? Accidental? Is it non-compos mentis problems with the president? Or was this by design, an anarchy, a chaos, a nihilism?
Biden and his administration have shown deceitfulness, hypocrisy, and incompetence in making any beneficial decisions in all areas of government, resulting in the endangerment of not only Americans, but other countries' citizens globally. It is no wonder that Mr. Biden's approval ratings have been plummeting, with calls for him and those around him to resign. With profound awareness of the current plight of the United States, Supreme Master Ching Hai has been sharing her loving concern and spiritual wisdom.
I'm not surprised at anything that Biden and his henchmen or henchwomen do. They're with the devil. They're not with your citizens. They're not with your country.
I understand.
They did everything absolutely opposite to protecting, to helping, to revering the people in your country. And your country people are their employers. They pay tax to keep them.
That's right.
All these years and decades.
Yes,
and they did nothing good. Just did all the bad things, warring and killing and even killing babies now. They should be gone, fired, yesterday already. If America wants to get up again and be great again, they should get rid of these evil people, okay?
Yes.
He's under negative influence, that is for sure. That's why everything he wants to do, this Biden, it's to do with death, so that the demons can eat them.
Yeah.
So all the Afghan deaths and bombing, killing the whole family, including 7 children, that's also according to the zealous demons' dictation. You see the new abortion law?
Yes.
Supporting abortion law so that all the babies can die, and then the humans are also getting weaker morally, spiritually, farther from God. And the demons can feast on these unborn babies.
Yes, understand.
So everything to do with Biden is all death, death, death. He doesn't have any IQ, or I would say so. Not to talk about being under influence of the devil, nothing. This kind of president like this is damaging your country.
Yes, yes.
And dragging America down. I feel so sorry for the Americans. They have been robbed in many ways that they don't even know. Even the ones who support the Democratic
Party,
they've been robbed also. They don't even know. They cannot understand.
Yes, people still don't understand about Trump and how good he is and about any his policies.
Yeah, if they can collect all the information and compare both of them, just like the thing we do on TV, then they would understand somehow who is who.
Whoever supports him strongly, these also should be impeached or fired out of the government.
Yes.
Otherwise, the Americans will die more and be harmed more.
I knew if Biden's in power, it's going to harm Americans and harm peace. Looks like this Biden and administration, they are all out for blood. They are out to destroy your country. Babies, children are the future of any country, and they go ahead just killing them, even pay for it, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Many people are hungry. They don't care. They want to pay for killing their own citizens. Mr. Biden will harm the Americans and other countries' citizens, also the international peace. Because if he continues, more Americans will be harmed.
etc. We pray for a brighter future for the United States and, by extension, the international community, through a change to a wiser, compassionate, and righteous leadership. May God bless America and our world.
Kabir says, the dinner of beans and rice is excellent when flavored with salt. Who would cut throats to have meat with his bread? Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Sikhism.
Courageous viewers, thank you for your company today. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television